Chinese explorer Zheng He was an innovative leader whose methods remain relevant today. He commanded a fleet of hundreds of ships manned by 27,000 crew on 7 voyages across 3 continents. He did this 600 years ago, but he used leadership and management techniques much like a modern-day CEO. NUS Business School professor Hum Sin Hun has created a detailed study of Zheng He's management style in his book, Zheng He's Art of Collaboration.
Actually, there are lots of lessons we can pick up from Cheng He, right? If you say we learn from Cheng He in terms of his leadership practices, in terms of his logistics supply chain, in terms of his human resource management capabilities, even in terms of his management of faith practices, religion. So there's a lot we can learn from all that.
Sifting through research on Zheng He, as well as the few writings the Admiral is known to have penned himself, Professor Hum was able to discern 5 strategies that make up Zheng He's leadership style. The first is allegiance to authority. Each voyage was authorized by a decree from the Emperor. As a trusted imperial servant, Zheng He felt accountable to his patron and recognized the need to sustain the Emperor's trust and confidence.
So his first fundamental big thing in terms of his leadership, that he recognizes an authority above him, and he's completely loyal to that and works to the best of his authority to fulfill the mission entrusted to him by the authority above him.
The second strategy Professor Hum calls Band of Brothers, referring to the senior deputies with whom the commander could share the burden of leadership. They built strong bonds as they sailed together on expeditions lasting as long as 2 years. The third strategy, care for crew, seems self-explanatory, but it goes deeper than in today's business world, where bosses and staff don't spend time together, as the crew did on these lengthy missions.
So his care for his crew manifested in many ways: care for their welfare, care for their physical safety, care for rewards and recognition for them. So that whenever the voyages comes to an end, back into China, Zheng He will report to the Emperor, and following the report, invariably all his men will receive their so-called just rewards.
The fourth strategy of due diligence encompasses everything from accepting the job, even though Zheng He had no experience as a naval commander or diplomat, to defining the job, to seeing it through, taking on each challenge as it came up. And finally, there's embracing the eternal, looking to the spiritual realm to support his leadership.
I guess most leaders recognize our own fundamental human limitation. And for Zheng He, that point is significant because when you're out in the seas, like I said earlier, who are you going to call for help? You can't call the Emperor. Even if you have a cell phone back in the 15th century, when you call the Emperor, what can the Emperor do with regard to the weather, right?
While records show Zheng He never abandoned the Muslim faith of his ancestors, his inscriptions invoke divine protection of the sea goddess, and he accepted and even encouraged the diverse religions of his crew. As the leader of the imperial voyages, one of Zheng He's first tasks was to assemble a crew with the maritime skills he himself lacked. Indeed, Professor Hum says Zheng He viewed his human resources as the key strategic asset for carrying out his mission. The Admiral took a close interest in selecting not only his top lieutenants, but also the lower-ranking officers, navigators and technicians, even astrologers and interpreters. While Zheng He might not have known the term org chart, Professor Hum says he was an astute and strategic HR manager who deployed his resources effectively. For example, he organized his ships by function and assigned the crew accordingly.
Ships that carry treasures, 宝船, right, imperial treasures and goods and so on. Ships that are for battle, therefore presumably smaller and therefore more nimble, more flexible, right, in moving. Grain ships carry food. Water ships are actually water tankers. And then horse ships.
During the voyages, Zheng He not only took care of the crew's basic needs, but apparently kept them motivated with new tasks and challenges. That paid off later when he was able to take longer voyages with his more experienced crew. At the same time, he managed the boss, keeping in close contact with the Emperor and deferring to him on major decisions, thus ensuring ongoing support for the missions. For Professor Hum, it all circles back to collaboration.
For today's world, right, what it means is that if you want to collaborate with others internally within an organization, we have to deal with ourselves. So that our people, wherever they are, in whichever unit or sub-unit within the organization, everybody sings the same song. Everybody knows where we're going. Everybody knows where, what we need to do, right? And fundamentally, everybody must share the same values.
Professor Hum says the values of collaboration include honesty, transparency, consistency, and trust, without which Zheng He could not have embarked on his voyages, much less succeeded. In part 3 of this series, we'll explore Zheng He's lessons on logistics and supply chain management.